Good afternoon everyone, it's Graham from Lakeside, and this is a nice, well not nice, a lovely Sunday afternoon. Sun shining, not a cloud in the sky, bit chilly, but it's still a lovely day out there. Okay, so today really is about the 9F Crosti, which you can see in front of you, and the little Ivatt, which I bought from Lions and Locos the other day. So the 9F now is up and running with its new lamps and the sound plus firebox glow and a few other bits and bobs. But I did say that I would show you in more detail the weathering on this in better light, and some of the functionality like the firebox glow and the lamps on the front. So if you watch, hopefully you can see that. I can't see it too well on the viewfinder, unfortunately, whether they're on or off, but I think they're coming on and off. So I've got one on the smoke box door and one on the buffer beam for freight, I think that is, and she'll probably be primarily used for that, even though I've got coaches running behind her at the moment. I will be doing hopefully another video of this at night running some coal wagons. Now I might tag that on the end of this video, or it might be as a separate video, I don't know, but it depends on how quickly I can do it. So let's pick her up and I'll show you around. Okay, so as you saw the front there with the working lights, and you can see, if I just zoom in a bit, I'll try and capture some of this weathering detail. Now the motion shafts there are very nicely weathered with some lovely rust. If I can zoom in a bit. Too much, with some rust on them, and you've got the red from the heat and the rust, along with the white for the calcium and the heat on the blower, and on the copper tubing the calcium. I can't believe this is a railroad version, I really can't. I mean, look at the fine handrail, wire handrail. I mean, that is bloody stunning, to be honest with you. It's so much detail on this. Inside the cab, and that's actually quite a good shot there, you can see the firebox glow, and this also came with crew as well, so I didn't have to get any crew. So I'm absolutely chuffed to bits that I managed to get the glow of the firebox and the lights on the front working, with a stay alive capacitor and the decoder all fitted in there in that loco. The speaker, which is a 55mm long double speaker from Zemo, I think it's the biggest one they do of that style anyway, and it's got real coal in it. Blessed lamps right in the way, and again the treatment of the weathering is just top notch, absolutely fabulous. Now I was going to get a red light to put on the rear of the tender, but I thought, well, what I'll do first, because I've never fitted lights or firebox glow or anything before, I didn't know what was involved or anything, so I thought, well, I won't push my luck. I will I will just do the lights on the front and the firebox glow and see how I get on. And to be honest with you, it was very, very easy. It really was. So I think what I'll do, I'll get a red lamp from John at You Choose, which is where I got all the rest from, and fit a red light on the tender. Now I know that I can do it okay. The wiring between the tender and the loco, I've used a very small mini 2-pin plug so that I can separate the tender from the loco just by the plug, because obviously I've got two wires at the moment going from the loco to the tender for the speaker. If I put a red lamp in there, I'll have an additional two wires, so that will be an additional, either an additional 2-pin plug or a 4-pin plug. I haven't decided on that route yet, but either way it will be another plug anyway, so that I can still separate the tender should I need to. Just looking on top. Now this is an early 9F Crosti because there is no wind deflector for the chimney. Now when they first converted the 9Fs to this style, they didn't have a wind deflector, and the cab crew were complaining that they had smoke and fumes coming into the cab, so they fitted a wind deflector just there by the chimney. And you can see that on the Hornby 9Fs they did come in two flavours, one without, like this one, and one with a smoke deflector. And this is obviously the early one, not as regards Hornby, but of the 9F itself, because it didn't have the smoke deflector on. And they were all converted back to standard, I think, after about 2 to 3 years, because they just weren't very successful. So that's the 9F, and let's take off zoom, and down here I've got my iPad Pro with the Z21 software on it. As regards the app, the actual Z21 itself is sitting over there. You can just see the two aerials sticking up. That's the router aerials. So that's Wi-Fiing from there over to here. I haven't actually as yet had any problems as regards power supply not being high enough, but obviously I've only got 2 trains running at the moment, so I will put 4 on later on and see how the output goes as regards the Z21 power supply. But if it's not capable of it, then all I need to do is buy a booster for it, and that should solve the problems. But I'm not going to do anything on as regards the booster until I find out if what I've got is powerful enough. Now, along with the iPad, I've also got a iPhone 8 Plus, so I can actually have the Z21 on the iPhone Plus as well. And the lovely thing about it is that I can keep the iPhone, if I treat that as the master, I can keep the iPhone up to date just by exporting that data from here over to the iPhone, and I export it from there and import it on here, and it literally takes less than a second. It's, you know, bang, just like that, it's over. So if I add any more locos to here, it's just literally a case of exporting it over to the iPhone, and then they're both at the same level. So what I can do, for instance, if you can see that the lights are on just here, I'll hold it like that, and you will see that if I turn it off here, it will turn it off over here too. There. On, off. And likewise, if I touch it here, it will go onto the iPad as well. Isn't that cute? Brilliant. So what I can do is also have, so that gives me in total 3 locos at a glance. This can be either me going over the back there rather than taking the iPad, excuse me, or I can indeed give that to somebody if I have a visitor, and they can control their own trains from here. I mean, they're not, they can have more than one. Oh, just set off the Ivatt now. That's my own fault. Right, stop that. They're not just allowed to have one logo. They can scroll through and pick their own logos. So it's the same functionality on the iPhone as it is on the iPad. It's just that I've got room to show 2 logos there, and if I turn this up in the vertical position, it then gives me a huge image of one logo. But of course, if I scroll left or right, I can get another logo too. So that's the Z21. Very pleased with it. All I've got to do now is to do that. I've laid out roughly the track plan for the point system on the TMD here, which is replicated there. All I have to do now is, I say all I have to do, what I have to do now is take a photograph of this area using the iPad. I can then use that photograph and overlay it, or overlay this over the top of the image of the photograph. So that saves all the time, the effort of putting in straights and curves, etc. I just literally put the points over the top of the point itself, and that's all I'll need. And then of course I've got to assign the address for that particular point. So there's a fair bit of work to do on it yet, but I'm actually really quite excited about all this. It's given me a fresh view of the actual layout and in controlling it differently rather than using the EGOS. I'm still not going to pass judgment whether this is better, same or worse than the EGOS. They're completely different controllers, and I'm sure, even though I'm saying oh yeah it's great and everything, I'm sure given time then I'm going to come across issues which I'm thinking I'm not really sure I like that on it, but there's not much I can do about it obviously because that's part of the app. But yes, it is good, it's very good, but I'm aware that there will be things later on where I'm going, well, I don't know. So that's the Z21 initially anyway, very early stages. So let's bring the Ivatt round and let's take that off, and here is the Ivatt. Here she comes. A bit more. I do. Okay, so move that out of the way. So this is the thing I fell in love with when I saw it on the when I saw it on their website, Locos and Lines, or Lines and Locos rather. I'm having real problems with my words today. I've got a crown, a molar, which is a crown, and stupidly I ate a quality street over Christmas, and it sucked the blessed thing out, completely unglued it. So I'm desperately trying to hold this tooth in before I hopefully can get an appointment at the dentist tomorrow for them to hopefully glue it back in again. But it's a real pain at the moment trying to keep this tooth in. So if you see a tooth fall out, you'll know what it is. Oh dear. Well, it all comes to you with old age, eh? Right, anyway. So here we go. This is the Ivatt, and it is stunning. Now this camera is probably not doing it justice. I can tell you that, right, especially with my tube fluorescent lighting. If I can zoom in a bit, look at that. I mean, the work on that cylinder there, that is just awesome. And the rust on the conrods, door, real coal in the tender, the same as the Crosti. It's the same principle. Didn't come with crew this time, but I can put crew in that, that's not an issue. I mean, even the coal, I know the coal's real, but it looks real, doesn't it? You know, it's all those different big lumps and stuff in there. And the thing which I was stunned by, if we look at the Crosti, which is obviously Hornby, that's the pipe work for Hornby, which is good. You know, let's face it, that is good. That's separately applied. It's not moulded. Again, absolutely amazed at that for the fact that it's a railroad version. And look at this. Look at the intricacies of that pipe work. This is Bachmann, not Hornby. Oh, it's the lamp. The only downside to this loco, if I've got anything as regards the downside, is that it's not running as its best. And it's primarily down, I mean, this is an old loco, it was in the old Bachmann packaging. And the wheel sets, especially at the front, sorry, at the rear, this end here, that wheel set there is running wobbly. That's a technical term, by the way, wobbly. You might not understand it, but it's it's really quite wobbly, that wheel set. So what I might do, I might phone up Peter Spares during the week and see if he's got a spare set of wheels. If he has, then I will buy a set, airbrush the weathering on them, and dry brush as well, and put those in as well, because that's the only thing which lets it down. It's not great as regards the running. I mean, it stays on the track, but I think only just, to be honest, which is a bit of a shame, but that's the only thing which I can see which is wrong with it. Apart from that, you know, the motor's nice and quiet, there's not an issue there, but the best bit is the fact that she looks like she does. Absolutely bloody lovely. So what I'm going to do is, so that's the update really for both the Crosti and the Ivatt, and the Z21. Just really give you an update on how far I've got over the last couple of days after my previous video. But what I want to do is to do a decent running session of the Crosti at night with the lights on, and I will probably have her over there, coming in, turning around on the turntable, reversing back up, picking some coal wagons up from the area over there and going off out. And it will be about 3 minutes long. Now, if I can get it done today, I will tag it on the end of this video, but if not, I will treat it as a separate video. That will probably be done either today or tomorrow, maybe Tuesday, don't know, but I'll see if I can get it done today. Hello again everyone, I'm sorry about that abrupt ending there. The battery on my camcorder went down. I thought I had more life in the battery than obviously I did. So I'll just finish off with a short running session of the two locos, and I'll have the sound on the Crosti so you can see what she, or hear what she sounds like. I doubt if I will now put on the video which I was going to tag on the end of this. I will probably treat that as a separate unit, and maybe put that up tomorrow or Tuesday. So let's get the sound on, and I will try and get both running in tandem with each other if I can. I haven't got a clue what she said on that. Right. Right, so there you go. The Ivatt actually performed very well. That I must have cured something on that, because there was hardly any wheel wobble at all, and she went round absolutely no problem, no derailing or anything. So that's pleased me. As I say, I did overhaul both these before bringing them up here to actually run on the layout. So I just gave them a quick oil and a bit of maintenance, and they're both working really well, so I'm very happy. So what with those two locos plus my Z21, I'm very happy. It's really, this week has been a good week. I've got the yard lamps to fit now, and all I've got to do now is to do some track work for the Z21. So anyway, I'll end it here, and I will do the other nighttime shot of the Crosti either tomorrow or Tuesday and put that up. I say it's about 3 minutes long. I bought a new album and record album, and there's some lovely tracks on that, and this is quite dramatic, this particular track I'm thinking of. So when that's done, that should hopefully be quite a nice little video. Right, okay people, thanks very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. It's been great to actually play trains with my two new locos and my Z21. Okay, so bye for now, and I'll speak to you again soon. So bye.